he knew then that Yhwh Our Righteousness was coming. And he also understood with that was the destruction of the daughter of Babylon, or the United States of America. Remember now, that's why he calls himself the Illuminati. When I said on the previous show that they go by this book, that doesn't mean that they live it. They go by this book. What I meant was they follow it so that they know what's going to happen before it happens. All right, so they knew Yhwh Our Righteousness was coming, and with that they knew the destruction of Babylon was coming. That's why they set up the Trilateral Commission in 71 to speed their transition of moving all of their wealth out of America into the East, where it is today, in China, in India. That's why China is a big economic power now, and becoming more so. And basically all of the goods that you get here in America is coming from China. Okay,
I got to ask Brother Yahuda, who or what are the Hebrew Israelites? Who's a Hebrew Israelite? What are the Hebrew Israelites? Explain that to the people.
The Hebrew Israelites are captives, the descendants of the captives, slaves, who were brought on this side of the world in ships, okay, as slaves. We were brought over, you know, just like the descendants of Esau. They're always talking about their Holocaust, their Holocaust. Well, they've had many instances down through the centuries where they have had situations where they have been afflicted by another people. You know, the Turks put a whipping on them. The Romans put a whipping on them. The Greeks put a whipping on them, as I touched on earlier. But this has come about as well as the Medes and the Persians, which is still a death knell that's hanging on them, because today the Persians are Iran. All right, and they still got a thing hanging over them. And the reason why this is, if you want to know why this is, why the descendants of Esau have constantly had problems through the centuries, all the way up, like I say, through the Nazi situation that they always harp on, is because in Ezekiel chapter 35, Yah said, because of what they did to the children of Israel, all right, and is also spoken of in Obadiah, they cut our escape away from the Chaldeans off, caught us, and handed us over to the Chaldeans, and then came up where it says at the swelling of Jordan, the lion shall come up from the swelling of Jordan, okay, and shall come up into the habitation of the strong. But who shall make him run away from her? Okay, and who is that man that I shall appoint over her? Well, that's Yah talking about Esau. He came up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan. When the Chaldeans and the Moabites and the Ammonites and all those bands of the Chaldeans came in, he was as one of them. He came in and took us, caught us, and handed us over so that we would be carried away. And then he came up into the land of Israel in 586 BCE. He came up into Yehuda, Benjamin, and into Jerusalem, and sat down and started and possessed our houses, like it says in chapter 7, verse 22, Ezekiel. Okay, the robbers entered into the temple. That was Esau. Okay, because Nebuchadnezzar, as it says in the book of Jeremiah, Yah brought him to burn the temple down, which he did. But Esau, as it says in the 137th Psalm, that wasn't enough for him. What does it say? He said, raise it even to the foundation thereof. He didn't want any remembrance of Yah in the land. All right, so this is the sins of Esau. All right, and this is why Yah said in Ezekiel chapter 35, since you have not hated blood, blood shall pursue you. And that's why they've had all these problems they've had. But their situation, so-called Holocaust, doesn't hold a candle. It doesn't present an iota of the things that have befallen Israel. And this is how you can determine the difference between a Hebrew Israelite and a Hebrew Edomite. Okay, the descendants of Esau has set up through the Bretton Woods Agreement the economic systems of the world that is being used today, that has run all these nations into economic destruction. All right, again, Yah said, I'm going to send a sword amongst the nations of the earth, and they shall go mad. Well, isn't this what Esau has done to him? He's driven them mad, not only with his economics, but also with his idolatry, Judaism and Christianity. Simple as that, because he conceived of Christianity, because again, it was Esau in the land after 161 BC. It was not us. Okay, we were relegated to slavery. We were not in the land, and history is not talked about. We're not talked about after 161 as being Israel or Jews. Okay, and when you read about that period in the first century CE AD during the Roman occupation of the land and around the land, that's not us. That's the descendants of Esau.
Brother Yhwh, why are African Americans, especially African American men, so vilified here in America?
Because we are the descendants of Israel. We're under a curse. And Esau set up America as he set up all these islands. Remember now, it was the monarchies who, and the Europeans, who thought the world was flat. Esau knew it wasn't.